Sarah had always been a night owl, finding solace in the quiet hours when the world slept. It was during these times that she often immersed herself in her hobby of collecting vintage radios. Her latest acquisition, an old, ornate model from the 1930s, had arrived that day, and she was eager to test it out. The radio was a beautiful piece, with a wooden exterior and brass dials. It looked as though it had many stories to tell. Sarah plugged it in and turned the dial, searching for a station. Static crackled through the speakers, accompanied by the faint hum of electricity. She kept turning the dial, hoping to find a clear signal. Suddenly, she heard a voice. "Hello? Is anyone there?" Startled, Sarah leaned in closer. The voice was faint and filled with static, but it was unmistakably human. She fiddled with the dial, trying to get a clearer reception. "Hello? Can you hear me?" the voice repeated. "Yes, I can hear you," Sarah replied, her voice trembling with excitement and a touch of fear. "Who is this?" "My name is Henry. Please, you must help me. I'm trapped." "Trapped? Where are you?" Sarah asked, her curiosity piqued. "I'm in a dark place. I don't know where. It feels like I've been here forever. Please, you have to help me," Henry's voice pleaded. Sarah's heart raced. She couldn't understand how someone could be trapped and communicating through an old radio. It made no sense. But the desperation in Henry's voice was real, and she couldn't ignore it. "What can I do to help?" she asked, her mind racing with possibilities. "There's a book," Henry said. "A journal. It holds the key to freeing me. You must find it. It's in an old mansion on the outskirts of town, the one that belonged to the Blackwood family." Sarah knew the place. The Blackwood Mansion had been abandoned for decades, rumored to be haunted. But if there was a chance she could help Henry, she had to try. She grabbed her flashlight and jacket, and without a second thought, drove to the mansion. The mansion loomed ominously in the moonlight, its windows like empty eyes watching her every move. She pushed open the creaking front door and stepped inside. The air was thick with dust and decay. She navigated through the dark, empty halls, her flashlight cutting through the gloom. Finally, she found a study with shelves lined with old books. She began searching frantically, her fingers trembling as she pulled out book after book. At last, she found a dusty old journal. She opened it, scanning the pages for any clue on how to free Henry. As she read, a cold wind swept through the room, extinguishing her flashlight. The room plunged into darkness. She felt a presence, something sinister lurking just out of sight. She heard whispers, growing louder, filling her head with incoherent murmurs. Suddenly, a hand grabbed her shoulder. She screamed and spun around, but no one was there. The whispers grew louder, deafening, and she felt herself being pulled into the darkness. She fought to stay conscious, clutching the journal tightly. With one final effort, she shouted, "Henry, I found it. What do I do?" The whispers ceased abruptly, and a voice, cold and malevolent, replied, "Thank you for freeing me." The journal fell from her hands as she was engulfed in darkness. The next morning, the townsfolk found her car abandoned at the mansion, but Sarah was never seen again. The radio in her home played static, interrupted occasionally by a faint voice, whispering, "Thank you for freeing me."